especially the mid caps and the small caps going up by 35%, 40%, even 50% in the last 3 years. When the markets keep going up, 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 there is so much of greed. It is like getting down from a moving train and the train is then gone. You can't get back. I'm convinced that there is no better strategy than an yes, you may have gained, but you don't know what you have lost this year. That this is the truth, according to me. And I could welcome to my channel and to this last video of 2024. And in this video, I'm going to share with you my 10 learnings about investments. Now, when I say learnings, it doesn't mean that this is the first time ever I learned these concepts, but these concepts I already knew. But this year, I actually learned much more. There's some in-depth knowledge that I gained from these concepts. And I became very sure they have convinced me now this year that this is the truth, according to me. And I could be wrong. Others may have very different opinions, but I have found my own opinion with my 30 years of experience in the mutual fund industry, my interactions, my exposures, my own journey of wealth creation, and my interactions with many of my clients, and also watching so many podcasts this year from so many experts in the industry. I have gained a lot of knowledge this year in my entrepreneurial journey and in my journey as a financial coach. And there is so much I've learned. And this learning is something that is now a strong foundation of my own wealth creation and also as a coach. And so I want to share this with you. And I'm sure if you follow some of these or all of these, you are bound to make wealth. And some are easy, some are difficult, but I urge you that you follow them. And if you're new to this channel, I would like to encourage you to subscribe. This channel, you will learn about money, about investing, about relationships, about and some tips and tricks to grow your wealth, some very conceptual knowledge, easy to understand knowledge, and also how you can grow in your relationship. Hello, I am Frankie Fernandez. I am a certified financial planner, and I'm also a certified marriage coach. My goal is to help young families in their 30s and 40s to grow their wealth in the best way, grow their wealth, grow your financial literacy, and also grow your relationship, because I believe these are very important for a holistic life. Yes, you can make just wealth and forget your relationships, but that will not be helpful to you in the long run. And the vice versa is true. You can have great relationship, but if you do not have money, it's a very difficult life to live. And I want to, with this today's video, the last video of 2024, I want to share my learnings so that in 2025 you will make a new beginning. So let's get into today's video. Number one, self investing versus giving it to experts. Now, whether it is stock market investing or it is mutual fund investing, I believe as an investor, you will always get better returns if you give it to an expert, because investing needs expertise. It's something like going to a doctor or self-treating. You can self-treat yourself to an extent, but not in the long run, not always. To enjoy good health, to ensure that you are treated well, you must go to a doctor, you must go to an expert, and this is applicable in every field. Whether it is doing some work, carpentry work at home, or painting, or whatever, it is best to give it to experts. And I know a lot of you watching may be actually directly investing in stocks or directly investing in mutual funds. Yes, you may have gained, but you don't know what you have lost. And I'm convinced that it is best to give it to experts. I have watched so many podcasts. I've heard so many experts in the field as mutual fund managers, as CIOs, head of mutual funds, but they also have their advisors. All the rich, high net worth individuals, all the people who have got great wealth have financial advisors. Probably they always had financial advice, and that is one of the things that they have made good decisions in their in growing their wealth. So I'm convinced that you must have a expert. You must give your money to an expert. The simple logic is look at direct investing in stocks. There are many fund managers, PMS managers, or mutual fund managers who are struggling to beat the market, struggling to beat the index. They are experts in this field for many years, for decades. They have got very good knowledge. They have got a great team supporting them, research analysts. I worked in mutual funds. I know what it is, what support they get as fund managers. And remember, they're experts in this field. They are very qualified and they're intelligent. They struggle to beat the market. They struggle to know when they themselves are not aware when the markets fall down or go up. But you'll find a lot of these videos and tips and YouTube, maybe influencers or whoever, giving tips. Then that assuming that they know when the market will go up, they know when the market will go down. But I've heard experts saying that we don't know when the market goes up, when the market falls down. Many of the fund managers have said that they do not know which funds, which companies will do well, which companies won't do well. They have their own process, but still they struggle. Then what about you and me, who have some other work to do? We're part timers, we're not full timers. So I'm convinced that you cannot become an expert, in stock markets or mutual funds by being a part-time investor, by being a part-time trader, or being a part-time portfolio manager. You cannot. If you have your day job to do, you must give your money to experts. There is a difference between being financially literate and increasing your returns. There's a difference. It is important to be financially literate, but when it comes to getting returns, experts are the best. You focus on what you are good at. A lot of the young folks in the market who do a lot of day trading, FNOs, and even stock picking, a lot of young folks think that they know. When you are 20s and 30s, you feel that I know so much. Maybe when you reach your 40s and 50s, you realized how much little you knew. So friends, I'm convinced, and I encourage you to hand over your money to experts, whether it is stock picking or whether it is mutual funds picking. I know there are many of you who are investing directly to save commissions, but trust me, you need help. You need help to pick the right mutual funds according to your right risk profile, according to your needs, your time horizon, your financial goals. You need help. So I encourage you to hand over your money to experts and you focus on the things that you like to do. I know families, I know individuals who are focused on investing, trading. They use their office hours, they use their personal time, sacrificing their career growth and their family. These are very important. Once you give this to an expert, you can focus on this. So that was number one. Number two, SIPs, that is systematic investment plan, is the best investing strategy. Now I know SIP is so simple to understand. Everybody does it. And I also started SIPs in my early 40s. And before that, I was doing lump sum investing, timing the market, so many things. I'm convinced with a lot of research that I've done this year, and also you can find it in my video, Wealth Creation is a Boring Job. I've given in details why SIP is so powerful, why SIP is such a superior strategy. I'm convinced that there is no better strategy than an SIP. Lump sum, stock picking, mutual fund picking, timing the market, all are inferior. If you want to grow your wealth, it is systematic investing. It is systematic investing. I have, over the years, over the last 30, 40 years, I have seen families who have made wealth because they had one discipline of saving regularly. Saving regularly. Those who don't save regularly and save ad hoc, randomly, will never make as much wealth as someone who does it systematically, someone who does it regularly. And today, in today's times, we not only can save regularly, we can invest in the best of products, and nothing better than mutual funds and stock markets. But those who do SIPs win, because SIP is something which you systematically do. You don't time the market. You keep investing, and more often than not, you always will invest in the right time. Because in an SIP, you cover all time periods, you cover all the ups and downs. and you're blind to when you're investing, and that is the best strategy. So whoever I meet, this is one question I ask. Those who are not married in their 20s, those who are just married in their 40s and 50s. In fact, yesterday I met somebody in their 50s, and this is one question I always ask. Do you have SIPs? If you have SIPs, have you increased your SIPs? If you don't have SIPs, start an SIP now. There is nothing better than this. And if you're watching, if you've not started your SIP, I strongly encourage you, start an SIP. I'm convinced there is nothing better than an SIP. Don't go to time the market. Don't think of picking stocks or mutual fund picking. Don't think of this is the time, that is the time I'll do. Trust me, if you want to grow your wealth, it is SIP. I have grown my wealth over the years. It is only through SIP. When I was doing lump sum, I've made a lot of mistakes. I've lost a lot of wealth just because I wanted to time the market. I thought I was so wise because I worked in the industry, but I was the most foolish. I was foolish. And I've heard so many stories in the last 1 year of SIP returns. What returns SIPs have given to those who trusted, those who are patient. So I encourage you, start an SIP today. If you already have an SIP, increase your SIP in 2025. Will you? Let me know in the comment box if you have an SIP or if you are going to start an SIP. I encourage you, I trust me, in the next 15, 20 years, 30 years, you will see what magic your SIP stuff. In fact, I feel SIP or simple or regularly investing works wonders and magic in your life. So number 3, stopping an SIP is a blunder. I've heard many podcasts on this. I have read articles on this, that how many have stopped their SIPs and what are the consequences. But those who stuck with their SIPs, those who stuck with their SIPs have made great wealth. And there's a difference is huge. I don't have any videos on this. I've not created any videos. I've researched enough. If you want a video, let me know in the comment box that you want a video on this, that what are the consequences of stopping an SIP. Many funds, they actually share their details that this is the fund which has made so many crores in the last so many years, and one of them has stayed with me, and that is I think it is one of the funds from HDFC, probably the HDFC Balanced Advantage Fund. I don't remember exactly. It is not a fully equity fund, but a balanced fund. And if you had invested 10,000 per month for the last 30 years, so how that 10,000 per month has turned into very huge, and that stayed with me. But not everybody who invested in this has made that much, simply because they stopped midway. And this fund, 10,000 per month. So 10,000 per month translates into 1,20,000 in 5 years. And in 30 years, it is 36 lakhs only. 36 lakhs. And if you had invested 10,000 per month for 30 years, today it would be more than 14 crores. I've shared it in my videos. Watch my videos. I've actually shared this in Wealth Creation is Boring and some of my other videos. It has stayed with me because from 36 lakhs, you've got 14 crores just because you did not stop your SIP. I was in the industry for 30 years. I missed the opportunity. There are others who invested, but they stopped midway. They withdrew their money. Just see what a loss. And even if you had done 10,000 per month in the last 5 years, you would have got more than 14 to 15 lakhs, just 10,000. That is, if you'd invested 6 lakhs in the last 5 years, you would have got 14 to 15 lakhs, which is around 2.5 times, just by continuing to do. But if you had stopped it midway, for example, if you had stopped it in 2 years, you would have got roughly around 3 lakhs and 15 lakhs. So there are many such stories of where many investors, so most funds, the statistics is that most funds, if they have given returns of probably 15 to 20 or 30% returns, the investors probably would have got 10 to 12% only because they stopped midway. So if you have started an SIP, if you started an SIP in an equity fund, which is long term, I encourage you, don't stop it ever. Let it be. Don't stop it. At least continue with minimum investment. Continue with 500,000, but don't stop an SIP, because you will lose. It is like getting down from a moving train and the train is then gone. You can't get back. So this is what I encourage you. Never stop SIPs. If you've started, let them continue for the next 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years, or when you have to take it out for a financial goal like a children's education, their marriage, or a retirement, but not before that. Number 4, IPO investing is a losing proposition in the long run. And I know many of you will not agree with me or have doubts. Is it really true? Now, I've been doing IPO investing for many years now, and things have changed, of course. And this is my experience in the last 1 or 2 years, especially in this 1 year, that IPO investing is not the best. I can't share too much in details right now. If you want more details, if you want a separate video, please let me know in the comment box. I will prepare. I have watched a lot of videos. I have researched, and from my own experience, I can tell you that it's a losing proposition for a number of reasons. Number 1, the probability of getting allotment in an IPO is very low. And I have experienced in the last 2 years or so. I have applied for IPOs, a number of IPOs, maybe not a lot, probably 5 or 6 IPOs, probably 7 IPOs. I have got allotment in 2. One of them was a loss, and one of them is still with me and it is profiting. But most of the times I haven't got, and I keep hearing from my friends, all those who have applied, very few get allotment. So the probability of getting an allotment is very low. That is number 1. That means you're blocking your money every month, maybe 5, 10, 15,000, and that money is just going to the bank. It gets blocked, and you get it back. It gets blocked and you get it back. Remember that it is not earning you interest. To some extent, you are earning savings interest, but otherwise you are not earning anything on that. And if you had invested maybe a year ago or 6 months back, and for the last 6 months you haven't got allotment, you have lost. In the last 6 months, stock markets have given returns. The last 6 months, debt funds have given returns. Even an FD has given returns, but you have missed. And if you are probably investing maybe 50,000, a lakh, or more than that, because you have money, you are actually losing. You have lost the rally in the last 1 year or so. That is number 1. Number 2, even if you get allotted, not all the companies are listing in at premium. They may list a premium and suddenly they will fall. Number of IPOs have actually, the report tells that number of IPOs are actually giving negative returns, have given negative returns because they have not performed well in the long run. Number 3, you may think, okay, the moment it lists at premium, I will sell it and make money. But remember, you have to pay 20%. Not just that, what will you do with that money? You will again wait for another IPO. You will again block your money. You will again wait for months before you get another allotment. But if you had simply used this money, 15, 20, a lakh rupees, right at the beginning of the year and invested in a mutual fund, you would have got easily 10 to 12% returns. Just check your IPOs. Have you got that much returns? And even if you keep your IPO for long term, statistics tell that you don't make more money than investing in a secondary market. And not me, experts tell this, that you will not make money, because even if it is listed at a premium, over a period of time it falls down and then again averages. So the hype is only when it lists. So IPO investing is a losing proposition, and I will make a video. Let me know in the comment box. Now, number 5, index funds do matter. Now, I have made a couple of videos on this. You can watch them. Index funds, how index funds have performed. In fact, in the last 5 years, a lot of the top mutual funds are index funds, a variant of index funds, not the simple large cap index fund, BSE, Sensex or Nifty 50, but there are a lot of variants of mutual fund, like maybe equally weighted index funds or momentum index funds. There are a number of other index funds where the management fee is less, where the overall fees are less, but the returns are good. And you don't need a fund manager. You just have to invest in these They are passive funds. That is also called as passive investing. A lot of index funds have given good returns. So index funds should form a part of your portfolio. They do form a part of my portfolio and my clients' portfolios, because I have realized you cannot ignore index funds. And over the years, in the next number of years, index funds will be far more attractive, and they will be actually leaders. In fact, a lot of the big companies, broking houses like Zerodha, have started mutual funds only for index passive investing. So index funds cannot be ignored. In fact, if you have an active fund, you can also have a passive fund of the same type, because your returns, if your active funds do not perform, your index funds will definitely perform. So index funds cannot be ignored. This is what I've realized in 2024, that index funds are important and they should form a part of your portfolio. If you do not have index funds, I encourage you, talk to your advisor or read up or watch some good index funds which have performed well, which have performed much better than some of the active funds. So do not ignore index funds. This is my learning. Number 6, patience in stock market is most rewarding. I know many of you know about this, have heard about this, and are probably doing it. But this is actually, it has a strong impact on me this year. One of the reasons, I was teaching, so I was researching a lot. Then I've read up a lot about probably Warren Buffett or Charlie Munger or many others, and a lot of our Indian investment gurus, stock market experts. I've watched so many of them. Many of them have emphasized this patience space. Even the SIPs returns that I talked about is patience. 30 years, if you wait, you see the returns. And a lot of my financial planning, when I talk to my clients or when I'm teaching online or offline, when I give examples, and they are all probably all long term. Your retirement is in the next 30 years. Your children's marriage is probably in the next 25 years. Children's education is in the next 10, 15 years. You need to be patient. We are living in a generation where everybody wants quick bucks, quick returns. That's the reason there is intraday trading, FNOs, cryptocurrencies, because all of these give you quick returns. But even if you look at crypto, those who have made a lot of money are those who have waited for many, many years. Why people want to invest in IPOs? Because you will get quick returns. But actual returns is when you are patient. Stocks like Titan have given 1000x in the last few decades. Number 6, patience in stock market is most rewarding. I'm sure you've heard about this often, and you may be wondering what is there in this, what is the discovery? For the last 1 year, I have seen so many numbers, so many calculations, so many articles I've read, and this is again and again being emphasized. And my own experience and what I have seen in terms of the returns that people have received who have waited has really made me believe again. In fact, it has convinced me that patience is that one virtue which is so important in building wealth. Whether it is Warren Buffett or Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, whoever, they have made wealth over a number of years. They waited patiently. Yes, they bought at the right time, they bought the right stocks, but those stocks have given them great returns because they waited. They waited patiently. And the current generation finds it difficult, whether it is IPO, whether it is cryptocurrency, whether it is intraday trading. These are all instant gratification. But delayed gratification is something that I have learned a lot this year. If I had shown that patience early in my career, early in the 90s when I was investing, and if I had not withdrawn a lot of my funds, today they would be into crores. So I've just missed a few crores. Maybe 5 or 10 crores I've just missed because I was not patient. I just give you a quick example of what does patience mean really. Look at this chart. This is the initial investment, 1 lakh invested when you are 20 years, for example. And you keep it for 5 years. It doubles at 15%, which is the average stock market returns. Mutual funds will give you more, but I'm just taking average stock market returns, large cap indexes. 4 years will give you, sorry, 10 years will make it 4 times. 15 years will make it 8 times. But when you retire, if at 20 you invest and at 40 if you retire, it gives you 270 times returns. 270 times, it becomes 2 crore. Just that 1 lakh. Now it seems simple, but so many of them would have withdrawn here. Probably would have withdrawn here. But waiting till it grows, till for 40 years is not something which often we do. Just look at your own investment. Look at that one investment which you made. How many years have you waited? If you are in your 50s, have you waited for probably 30 years or 25 years, 20 years for one investment? Do you have any one equity stock or any one a mutual fund where you've waited, where you've invested and not done anything for 20 years? If you have such a stock or a mutual fund, please let me know in the comment box. This is what it is and what is the current return. Trust me, this is not something simple. It may seem very simple, but it is not. Most of you who are watching will withdraw. You will not be able to keep your investment for the next 20, 30, 40 years. But if you keep it, it will be rewarding. It is said that most of 90% of Warren Buffett's 90% of his wealth he made after 50, which means all that he's invested over the years, exponentially they grew. So you may invest and you will withdraw for your, you will invest, you will withdraw for your financial goals, but keep some for long term patiently. Do not withdraw, do not touch it. Just trust the mutual fund where you've invested or talk to your financial advisor. Ensure that you are in that right fund, or even when the fund doesn't perform, probably it goes into another fund of the same category, but do not withdraw the investment for the next 20, 30 years. And you see the wealth it will accumulate. It just doubles. The number of times, if you see, it is every 5 years, it doubles. Your investment 8 to 16, then it goes a little more from 16 to, instead of 32, it becomes 33, then 66. Now 66 could be 132, it's 133, and then 268. It keeps growing. So this is the result of patience. And if you, every year, every 5 years, only every 5 years, you add a lakh, every 5 years, by the end of 40 years, you'll have the double the amount. Your 1 lakh has become 2.67, and then every 5 years you invest, the 7 lakhs investment will become double. It will be more than 5 crore. And I'm sure you can invest every year that 1 lakh. So just see the amount of money. So this is patience. Number 7, asset allocation is underrated. So what do I mean by that? What I've realized is in the last 1 year that asset allocation as a strategy to maximize your returns and minimize your risk is more in theory, not many practice it. A lot of them whom I've talked to, either they have a lot of real estate or a lot of equities, a lot of fixed deposits or debt. People do not have an asset allocation, a balance. And as a young man or a young woman or a young family of 30, your asset allocation should be mostly equities, but not everything equity. So what I've seen is that what I've observed is those who have a very high risk profile, where they love to invest in equities and stocks, they have most of their wealth into equities because they want to make more money. Or I find some people who do not know anything about equities, they have a lot of money in FDs or 2-3 flats, apartments, property, which is absolutely, it doesn't maximize your returns and doesn't minimize your risk. In fact, having most of your money into one asset is very risky. If most of your money is into equities, and what happened in the last 2-3 months, there was a drawdown, the markets fell by more than 10%. Just imagine what will happen. And if you have some need that time, if you need some money in emergency, or if you need some money for your financial goals, what will you do? You cannot withdraw from there. It will be a loss. Or what if you have most of your money into real estate and for a number of years real estate doesn't move and you just get probably 2 to 3% returns? Then what? You have lost a lot of your returns. And what if you have most of your money into FDs? You have not even beaten inflation. So your money has not grown. So the definition of asset allocation is it maximizes your returns and minimizes your risk. So you must have money into equities, money into debt, into real estate, little into gold. There should be a balance. And as a young family, 80 to 90% should be into equities and the rest of them should be into debt. Very little into real estate. Once you grow after 40, 45, then you can add real estate because by then your equities would have grown. So this is something which is so simple. And I have noticed in the last couple of months, in fact, I've experienced it because of a good balanced asset allocation. Mine is around 60% equities at my age, 60, 65% equities and 35 to 40% debt. I was able to actually use my debt and invest into equities when the markets were down. And I did not panic, although I had my daughter's fees to be paid and I had other expenses. I was not worried about the markets falling by 10%. In fact, I invested more from my debt into equities. And I had to pay those fees. I paid it from my debt. I had no worries. That is because I had a good asset allocation and many do not have. So if you just see your investments and see if you have a proper asset allocation. As a rule of thumb, your 100 minus your age should be into equities. But that is just a rule of thumb. Ideally, your asset allocation should be driven by your financial goals. And it so happens that in your 30s and 40s, you actually have a huge allocation to equities. That means in your 30s, you can even have 80 to 85% of equities. That is the way it should be. And that is the only way to grow wealth rapidly, exponentially. So just check your investments and see what is the balance. Equities should be more all the time. 50s and 60s, you should have a very good asset allocation into equities. Even in your 60s, your asset allocation should be 30 to 40% into equities. Because only then you'll be able to have enough money post-retirement. And in your 30s and 40s, you should have 60 to 70% into equities. That is asset allocation. Please watch my video on asset allocation. This is the video I've clearly explained how to create a balanced portfolio. So number 8, there is nothing called a best mutual fund. I've come to realize in the last 1 year, all the more, that there is nothing called best mutual fund. And you can watch my video on announcing the best mutual fund not for you. That is one part of the whole thing about best mutual funds. Number one, that there is no best mutual fund. Every mutual fund is based on your financial goals, your risk profile, okay, and your asset allocation. There are several things to having a mutual fund. So it is not one size fits all. Just like there is no the best antibiotic or the best supplement. Each of us have to buy something that is suitable to us. Same way with mutual funds, there is no best mutual fund. Every mutual fund is arrived at after seeing your risk profile and your time horizon, right? And another thing which I've really strongly learned here is that there is no best mutual fund forever. What is best today may be worst after 5 years. So what is number 1 could be number 30, and what is number 30 could be number 1 in the next 5 years, 10 years. So when you invest, we should not think that this is the best mutual fund and rest. It need not be. At the same time, if some mutual fund is maybe 5 or 10 in number, but it is more suitable for you for various reasons, we can still go for it. You don't have to go for the best mutual fund at that point in time, because this mutual fund, which is number 10, could be number 1 later. So you keep monitoring the funds. And just because your fund is number 1 today and maybe number 10 in next 2-3 years and number 20 in the next maybe 2-3 years, doesn't mean that it will stay there. It can again come back. As long as you believe in the fund manager and the returns are decent, number 10, number 20 doesn't mean the returns are bad. So we need to wait patiently and then take a call. Just because it goes down doesn't mean that you need to sell it and go for another mutual fund, which is better. Because by doing that, you will actually be accumulating capital gains for which you have to pay taxes. And in the end, this fund may actually become a good fund again. So you lose on two counts. So a fund that is great need not be great tomorrow, and the fund that is bad need not be bad forever. So what is most important is the fund giving good returns? Is it from a good fund house? Is the fund manager good? Will he be able to sustain the performance in the coming years? Is it helping in my overall portfolio? There are many things to consider. We can't just take one fund and just keep seeing what is the performance, what is the ranking. So this is one thing which I've learned. So this is one advice for you too. Don't look at a fund and see if it is a 10 or 15 in number in ranking. It may not stay there. It can keep coming up. So a good fund, even if it drops, it will come back. It will drops, it will come back. So look for your funds that it should be in the first one or two quartile, which means out of 100 funds, it should be within the 25 or 50 range. If it continues to be at the bottom for 4 or 5 years and forever it doesn't come up, then you know that that fund is not a good fund. But a fund which is up, which comes down, which goes up again, they are good funds, because in the end it is the returns that matters. Number 9, and this is a very important part of your wealth building journey, and this is what I've realized, that so many are chasing returns, trading, using their time trading, stock picking, and trying to find the best mutual funds, best stocks. A lot of time is spent into that. If you really look at your wealth growth, it is primarily because of your active income, the money that comes from your work, the money that comes from your career. That is what is actually given you the capacity to invest and grow your wealth. So focus on this, not on after you invest how that money grows, because this is what will give you exponential returns. If your salary grows every year by 10-15%, you get bonuses, and once you get the promotion, your money grows. That is the growth. And if this stops, this can't grow at this rate. Even if this slows down, if this continues, you have made a lot of wealth. So remember, stay focused on this active wealth creation or active income. Many focus on this, and they use their office time to do trading. They use their family time to do trading. They do their good instead of personally developing in your career, personally developing through online courses or learning, joining a course. They focus on this. So friends, active income gives you far greater returns than passive. So please remember this. This is one thing which came back to me again and again this year. What will matter is not my passive income, but my active income. And finally, greed and fear are real emotions. Learn to manage them. This year, I really got to know these two emotions a lot. In the last several years, I have seen this part, the fear and emotions. But this year, probably as a financial coach, interacting with people and seeing the markets in the last 2-3 years, markets only going up and then falling, I've seen that these two emotions are very real. If you do not manage these emotions, it can affect your long-term investing. It can affect your asset allocation. It can affect your SIPs. It can affect many areas. In fact, the last 9 things I've spoken about, it can affect everything. Because when the markets keep going up, there is so much of greed, especially the mid caps and the small caps going up by 35%, 40%, even 50% in the last 3 years. There is so much of greed. Your heart tells you invest more in mid caps, invest more in small caps, because the returns are huge and the market is only going up. And when the markets are going up, you always feel that greed, that the markets will only go up, and I can keep investing, and the markets will keep going up. The mid caps and small caps will keep going up. But that is not true. Markets go up and go down. And especially the mid caps and small caps, the percentage of fall in a mid cap and a small cap is higher than a large cap. And when the markets fell, especially in October and November, even now the markets are falling, there is a fear, the fear that the markets will not recover. Many of them tell, oh, I have never seen my stocks, my mutual funds falling by this great percentage, big percentage. Should I invest in equities? Should I continue in equities? There is a fear, and this fear drives people away. They are worried about their money, and so what they do, they withdraw their investments or they stop investing in equities. And this fear affects their asset allocation. This fear affects many of the other investment, for example SIPs or long-term investing. You cannot be patient, you're worried. So I've realized that these emotions of greed and fear are very real. If you want to grow your wealth, you must be able to manage them. You must manage these emotions. Never feel too greedy, never fear too much. Have your right asset allocation, do your SIPs regularly, talk to a mutual fund advisor. When you have a mutual fund advisor, you can always take advice. These fear and greed are emotions which are strong, and so you need an external help. So the best way is to, going back to our number one, give it to mutual funds or give it to a fund advisor, and you do your work. You do focus on your career, on your vocation or your calling. Experts will do that for you. So then you will not have that greed or fear. Even if you have these emotions, you can always talk to your financial coach and he or she will guide you. So it's very important to manage these emotions. If you've learned how to manage these emotions, you will definitely make money. So these are the 10 things. So what are those 10 things if you have to summarize them? If do you remember all of those 10, just pause and think what are those 10. The 10 learnings in 2024 is self versus expert investing. Always rely on the experts for getting good returns. SIP is the best investment strategy. If you haven't started, start. If you already started, increase your SIP allocation. Stopping SIP is a blunder. Never stop an SIP unless you need it for your financial goals. IPO investing is a losing proposition, so think before you keep applying for IPOs. Probably you can bring down your IPO applications and focus more on the regular investing like SIPs. Index funds do matter. Do not underestimate the power of index funds. They are quite important in your a part of your, they should be a part of your portfolio. Patience in stock markets is most rewarding. This is one big virtue that we all need to have, that is patience. Asset allocation is underrated. Ensure that you have a good asset allocation. There is no best mutual fund. There is nothing called a best mutual fund. Active income gives better returns than passive income, and greed and fear are real emotions. Learn to manage them. If any of these topics you want me to make any video, please let me know in the comment box, or you can share in the comment box. What do you feel? Are there any things that you have learned in 2024 that we all can apply it in 2025? Grow our wealth? Please let me know. Thank you for listening to this video till the end. I'm sure there is something that you have learned. Probably you don't agree with all of what I've said. Maybe some of them you agree, and some of them you have not ever put into practice. So I encourage you, put these into practice and see the difference it will make to your wealth in 2025. So these are my learnings, and I've actually got better in my knowledge. There is a lot to it. What I've shared is just the tip of the iceberg. There is so much to it, and I believe that if we all apply these, we will definitely create wealth and build wealth and grow wealth at a very fast pace, exponentially. Thank you for listening to this video. If you are new to this channel, if you haven't subscribed, I encourage you to be a part of this community. And if there's anything you would like to share, please let me know in the comment box. And wishing you a very happy new year 2025, and I'll see you in 2025 with more videos on relationships and money and marriage. So let's hope I can do better than 2024. So see you soon.